everybody, Kim here with Little Biz Resources, and today I want to do a quick video on how to get a free business checking account. And yes, you can get started today. So first of all, why do you need a business checking account? The question is, are you running a business? You're probably watching this then because you have started, are starting, or thinking about starting a business. And by business, I mean your goal with whatever your adventure is to make money. Now, you might be one of those people that creates an LLC just to capture all of their expenses for their hobby. You could probably still do this as well because you have an LLC, but I want to warn you that you should really consider this as a business, but that's a different conversation. So yeah, if you are a business, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you want to make money and you're like, hey, I want a way to process all of that income because you're going to make a ton, or maybe you're not going to make a lot, you're probably needing a business checking account. And here are some things to help you consider that. Maybe you want to separate your business expenses and your business income from your personal expenses and income, right? Whether it's for audit purposes or just to keep track of it. Maybe you want to set your business up for sale or for expanding. And by that, I mean, if you have a separate business account, you want to keep that out of your personal account anyway, then you have the opportunity that you could, sell the business and you probably still close that account, but it would be completely separate and easy to transfer over and everything else, right? So you do need a business bank account specifically for an LLC, a partnership, or, other variations that are not a sole proprietorship. And that's because it's for a lot of reasons, but to protect yourself, legal reasons, etc., keeps the business money separate. Now, a lot of people get stuck on this step, right? So I've been in dozens and dozens of groups, and it's probably close to 50 different groups or communities for different startup programs, right? So we get people who purchase, a $2,500 program, they get in there, they are told, hey, get your bank account set up, get an accountant, blah, 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 and they get stuck, right? It's one of the earliest problems people have. They need to make a decision on what bank account, if they even need one, how it works, etc. Now, let's just solve this problem, right? First of all, as I said in the prior slide, you need a business checking account if you have a business or plan on it being a business. So this means that if you've purchased a $2,500 program with the intent of starting a business, or a $100 program or a $1,000 program with the intent of starting a business, you need a business account. You need a business checking account, right? So there you go. I've solved your problem. It's not a matter of whether you need one or not, you need one. So let's instead look at where we can get a free business checking account. And I want to caution you, free in the banking world doesn't always mean free. So be careful when you're doing your research. Okay. And I do encourage you to do some research, but I'm going to discuss a couple of options, but I have a link in my description to the bank I use for my business banking. And it really is free. Like, it's insane that they're doing this, but it's a newer bank. I say newer, it's been around for a couple of years now, and year or two now, maybe 3, I can't remember. And it has no cost to sign up. So there's no application fee. There's nothing like that, right? There's no minimum balance. So I think you open it with, let's say, $50. And if you need to transfer 49 of it or all 50 of it out, you're fine. Obviously you wouldn't want to go into a negative balance, but you could take the money out and there's no minimum balance required to keep that open. And they're not going to charge you if you don't, if you don't have a certain amount in there. Then ATM fees are reimbursed. That's something that you got to look at because some banking institutions will charge a fee on top of the fee that you get from the ATM. So now you're pulling $60 out and paying 66 or 68 for that, right? There is no monthly charge. Now, I say this, I used to have Chase, and I'm not saying anything bad about Chase, but we're a seasonal, it was for EP Laser, which we've since shut down, but it were seasonal. So we mostly made Christmas ornaments and sold on Amazon. And the challenge we had was that we didn't keep a balance year round, right? We would put it down in under the $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever that they wanted daily. And we ended up getting charged a monthly service fee for that because of that. So Chase has some other things if that's your personal bank, which we'll talk about in just a second. The other thing that I like about my choice for business banking is that there's no official business name required. Right? So some of these banks, you go in there and you sit down, you go want to open up a business account and they go, okay, where's your paperwork? And you go, what do you mean? They're like, well, you need to have, X, Y, and Z. Now, in some states, obviously, you do have to have a business license to run a business. So it's probable that in those states, they're going to require that for a business account. However, if you don't have a DBA and you don't have an LLC, some banks are like, we don't know what you're talking about. We can't open it, right? They're unable to. And we had this problem when I was in Texas, and it was with a credit union there locally. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. So we ended up waiting until the LLC got officially formed, and then we put it in the LLC name. And then the sexist jerks decided to put everything in my dad's name, even though I'm the one that handled everything. So, yeah, in fact, I still think I have an account there with them because I don't know how to close it. So the first thing I recommend is that you check with your personal bank. In fact, this is the only thing I recommend outside of our account, or our recommendation. And that's because some banks, not all, offer business banking, right? So Chase is a good example of that. If you have a Chase personal account, you should check and see what your benefits would be for opening a business banking account with them. I'm going to tell you now, a lot of these banks make it look good, but it's not, right? They still have extra fees. They still have minimum requirements. They still have all these different restrictions. So check to see what those are. But if yours happens to have a business checking account, find out if you get any benefit for opening the business account. Find out what the fees are. And you say, why, Kim? If you're telling me that there could be these potential problems with it, why wouldn't I just open yours? Well, first of all, if you need to move money fast, and this is a good example, when you first get started, you're going to be funding your business bank account with your personal money more than likely. And that's because that's how the world works, right? Money's got to come from somewhere. They don't just fund the account for you. That would be awesome, but it doesn't happen. So instead, you have to fund it with your own personal money. So let's say that, especially in the first year or so, you're like, hey, for whatever reason, we had an extra bill come in and I'm going to be short $50 and I need to move $50 in and cover anything that's going to hit it, right? Then most banking institutions permit same day or one day transfers between personal and business accounts at the same bank, right? If it's at the same bank, it can usually get moved in the same day, sometimes one day transfer. Just depends on the bank. In comparison, if you need to transfer from a different institution like the one I use to your own personal account in Chase or Wells Fargo, wherever it is, it could take days or up to a week, and it really just depends on the bank. So my personal bank doesn't have business checking accounts. And if your bank is like mine and doesn't offer business checking accounts, just click the link in the description to go to my preferred business bank. It's called Withnovo for the online portion, but it is actually an extension of another bank. That's why I put the link in there. So you go to the right place, right? You go to the right place. It's super easy to sign up. Just hit the Get Started button once you get to that page and sign up with your email and walk through the questions. You will need to provide documentation for the LLCs and other entities that are not just you doing business as your name. And I think I even put my driver's license in there at one point, right? So they know it's mine, and you want to do that, guys. If you're like, oh, hey, I don't want to have to provide any documentation. No, you do. And I'm going to tell you as a side note that I know a guy who owned a business and somebody stole his identity and stole his entire business. And it was a physical location. And he couldn't, obviously he could still go in there, but all of his bank accounts were stolen. All of his credit cards, everything were stolen, and he could not get them back. He spent years trying to work on it and get it back, but he had to open different accounts. He had to, get funding things from friends and family because his credit was ruined. It was a nightmare because and I assume it's because he did a sketchy open. That would be my guess. So provide your documentation, okay? It's not that hard. You scan it, you submit it, it's there. So, but you do it all online, right? This isn't like when I was working with Chase, they don't let you do hardly anything online for a business account. I'm going to tell you that now. So if you're like, oh, hey, I have Chase, there's another disadvantage to it. You have to, if you need to do something significant, if the support online can actually answer any element of your question, it's usually, oh yeah, you need to come into a local branch and we'll help you with that. They're constantly pushing you into the branch, and they just can't really do much online. I'm assuming that's because they probably outsource to places that are unable to, access that verified information. So really, that's what, it's so simple. It's really easy. Again, you don't have there's no hidden fees with this bank. That's why I really like it. But again, I wanted to talk about this because so many people get stuck with this topic. So the next steps, open your bank account. Whether it's at your personal bank, you're going to open one there, you're going to go through the link and open one at Withnovo. Just open the bank account, get it started. If you don't have a business yet, right? If you don't have a business net and you're like, hey, I just wanted to check and see if this is an option. Now you know it is, right? And you can check out the links in the description for a variety of options for free training to give you some ideas on a business. Then I encourage you to ask questions. You can hop into the Little Biz Resources Facebook group. You can ask questions on this video, or you can come live on Thursdays here on this channel. And if you like this content, please hit the like button and help me spread this content to more people. I thank you for watching.